Hey, welcome to Show and Tell. This channel is where I show and tell some of my favorite finds as a reseller, as a dad, as a tech worker, as a consumer. Last time I ranked my rotary tools from least used to most used. This time we're going to do vacuums. I've owned all 5 of these vacuums in front of me for a number of years now, and I don't use half of these half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of these half as well as they deserve. So today I'm going to rank them from least used to most used based on what I actually reach for, not based off of a scientific test. So before we get into the rankings, let me just give you a bit of information from left to right, starting with the Dyson V6. So this came out in 2015. It weighs 5.1 pounds, runs on a 21.6 volt battery, has up to 100 air watts of suction in the max mode, and it sold for about $300, but I got mine used for actually $5.99. Next is the Shark Ion Flex IF251. This came out in 2017, and right there. And this is the 8.75 pounds, uses a removable 25.2 volt battery, and has Shark's Duo Clean head, and it originally sold for around $400. Next is the Dyson V8. This one came out around 2016, 2017 as well, and this one in the middle. This weighs 5.6 pounds, runs on a 21.6 volt battery. Bump suctions up from the original Dyson V6 to 115 air watts and retailed for about $400 when originally out. Next is the Shark LA502 Lift Away, and this came out in around 2020. It's corded, upright, weighs 18 pounds, has HEPA filtration and a lift away pod, and it originally retailed around $300. And then finally, I have the Ryobi PBL SV717. And this one came out in 2022. It weighs 8 pounds, runs on Ryobi's 18 volt 1 Plus battery system, and has a brushless motor. It originally sold for $250 without the batteries. All right, let's rank them. Of all the vacuums, my least used vacuum is in fact the oldest vacuum, and that's the Dyson V6. To be fair, it's over 10 years old, and it's actually been incredibly reliable. I've only had to replace this battery one time in the past 10 years, and I bought it used. The battery just stopped working a couple years ago, and it flashed, and it wouldn't hold a charge anymore. So I bought an aftermarket Amazon battery, and it has worked fine ever since. This is the vacuum I actually keep in one of our bathrooms upstairs, in the least used bathroom. I don't keep a vacuum in every single bathroom, but this vacuum in particular holds a charge still. It works. However, the reason I use it least and don't keep it in the primary reach spot, especially in our most used areas like our kitchen and our living room, is because I don't like emptying it. It comes down to that. It's that simple. When you open the dustbin, and let me show you this, there's a button. Let me take it off of its pole. There is a button that you press, and some will come out, some of the dust will come out, but there's no way to push the rest of the dust out of this vacuum without grabbing an extra tool. So notice how all the dust stays in there. That's really annoying. As you just vacuum up something that's, you don't necessarily want to touch, but you have to get something or use your fingers to get the rest of the dirt out of there. So that's an annoying piece to this vacuum, and they change that in the newer models of Dyson because they know it's really annoying. But for that matter, it ends up being least fun to use. It also honestly feels like the weakest vacuum of the lineup. It probably, on paper it might not actually be, but probably is, and that's also probably because the aftermarket battery. There is a high max mode button on the back that does increase the usage. Let me show you. It increases the suction capabilities, and so when you hit this max button, it will suck with more force. However, you run out of battery really, really quickly. It is good for hardwood floors. It's good to have around for light duty work, and where I believe it struggles the most is on carpets and rugs. It just doesn't do a great job. You can change out the head. Right now I have the soft ball roller head on there. It's designed for hardwood floors or hard solid floors like tile. Our bathroom is tile, so that's partially why I keep it up there just like it is here. There's a larger array of attachments, but again, I don't like how it empties. It feels the least powerful of all of them, so that's why it ranks last on my list of most used vacuums. Number 4 on my list of vacuums that I use from least to most is my Shark LA502 Lift Away. Also, the rotator is what is printed on the front of it. So this is an incredible vacuum. It's very, very powerful. We have a long-haired cat and long-haired dog, a Bernese Mountain Dog, a Persian mixed cat, and then between my wife and her friends, a lot of long hair in our house too. This picks up long hair incredibly well. We bought this a couple years ago in our first home when we had carpet everywhere, and this did an amazing job for getting the hair out of the carpet. In our new house that we're in right now, we moved here a couple years ago. We have hardwood floors everywhere. I do not need as much power to get the hair out of our rugs as I did in my old house. So I find myself not ever needing this much power. We have one rug in our living room that gets a lot of traction in hair. This is the one vacuum and the one use case in that one vacuum that I would maybe consider pulling this out on sometimes, because I'll have to do a couple passes with my other vacuums, but I just don't like the hassle of using a cord. This limits your range. The cord's pretty long, but not long enough for me to be able to do more than one room or area of our house in one big sweep. I have to unplug it and situate it and be careful where I'm going. And if I have a toddler or my pets are down there, then it is just annoying. It's annoying. They'll go grab the cord, or someone will start to chew on the cord, and it's not good. So I rarely use this. It's pretty big and bulky too. I don't like how much room it takes up. It's heavy as well. It's about 18 pounds, so you can feel it when you're moving it. It's also not detachable in the same way as the other ones are. So I can store, the Dysons, the Sharps, and the Ryobi cordless options all in pieces or in parts in different places if need be. This one, you keep it together because that's how it all stays together. So a couple pros I'm going to show you though. I really like how big the dust canister is on this. It's way bigger by a landslide than any of the other ones. When you empty it and open it, it all just dumps out, and that's really good. It doesn't get stuck in there. I like that there's a detachable wand too. This wand can come out. I like that it has two rollers on the bottom. That does well on both hardwood and carpets or rugs. But again, the corded option here is what the killer is for me. So that's why I rank it. I rank it fourth. It's more powerful than the Dyson V6, but it's a hassle. We keep it for emergencies. I probably will look to I'll always look to have a corded option just in case we move and we get carpet, or if we get carpet somewhere in our house, they just do really well. But right now it stays in my shed. I don't bring it in unless I really, really need it, and it actually ends up getting more use than the Dyson V6, if that tells you how often we use the other bathroom, but not much more. Number 3 on my list of vacuums that I use from least to most is my Dyson V8. Dyson V8s are still sold out there in some stores. I'll go to some Targets every once in a while and I'll see a Dyson V8 in the new Target section in 2026. That's pretty surprising to me. It's a good vacuum. It's powerful. It fixes the main issue with the other Dyson of when you hit the empty button. Actually, I guess I should say pull the empty button. Let me show you. It forces out all of the debris by pulling this piece up, and the debris just falls down. So there's nothing for it to get stuck in and compressed in. That's a great feature. It really helps make this more convenient. It's not annoying to get all the hair out of it and I don't have to use a separate tool when I'm done vacuuming to get the hair out of it. So I really like that. I like the weight and size of this. I don't like the size of the canister. It's really, really small. Same size as the V6. It just doesn't hold very much. My wife's biggest complaint about this one when she picks it up is that she has to empty it out multiple times. Same for me too. But with hair, lots of hair with pets, this fills up quickly. Without pets, this definitely will last much longer in a use. So why is this not higher up in my ranking? Simply because the battery again died on me. It lasted for a few years. I got this used as well. It lasted me probably 3 years of pretty heavy use, and it was really good. But the battery died. I replaced it with an Amazon one, and the battery died again, unfortunately. It it is powerful, but there's something about having two roller heads that feels really powerful, or just a really solid single roller head option. And the soft head on this one does well on hardwood floors, but it doesn't do well on carpet. The the brushed one does well on carpet, but doesn't do as well on hardwood floors. I I don't like that you have to use a separate wand attachment. Like you have to insert a wand attachment into the end of the vacuum if you want to pick up big dust bunnies or debris. So let me show you what I'm talking about. With this down here, and this is the same for the Dyson V6, there is it's just the mechanical edge here. There's no like rim for this to be able to pick up large debris. You know, I have just vacuumed like this before. I don't really recommend it because it just doesn't do very well, and you risk damaging the coil that powers it. So I don't like that. I have to use a separate attachment for picking up large debris. I keep this one next to my other two in our laundry room. We have a really big laundry room, and I just have them sitting next to each other right now. I'm going to get rid of some of them here soon and sell them, but I find myself not reaching for this one very much, especially when it comes to a cordless option. Number two in my lineup of least to most used vacuums is my Shark IF251. This one surprised me the most. I got this one used as well. I paid about $8 for it, for this and a battery, and it has served me very, very well for a very long time. So it has two heads in the bottom part, and I really like that. There's something about the two heads that just it works really well for picking up on whatever material you're on, if you're on carpet or you're on hard floor. So I really like that. I like how this has a removable battery, and I have two batteries now. I got another battery used at one point, and we just keep both plugged in. And you can just you don't have to dock it if you don't want to dock it. You can keep the batteries in a separate place if that's convenient to you. I do like docking the Dysons because I don't have to worry about, like, it's like an extra step taken away. But I don't like how finicky it is to keep a Dyson. I have to keep it in the same place. I can't move the batteries around. I haven't mounted to the wall permanently. This is much more flexible. I do actually like that a lot. I do not like the size of the bin. The bin feels even smaller than the Dyson's. I don't have a precise measurement. It's just tiny. This bin also requires manual scooping of the garbage out of it. So when I pull this empty button or push the button, it dumps out what it can, but because the pieces in the middle don't pull out, stuff gets wedged in there. I also like, and this is a feature that's really innovative, I find this on newer vacuums a lot now, is this suction nozzle here can stand alone. I don't need an attachment to pick up big debris. This is designed to pick up big debris without me having to add a separate attachment. You can add attachments onto this, and that's really nice. That's a benefit. But I don't want to have to reach for an attachment when I'm vacuuming. I want to have it on me just when I need it. Okay, why I don't reach for this one very often is because both of my batteries for this have degraded over time, and that's a theme. If you heavily use your vacuum, if you have kids and pets, your batteries are going to degrade over time. You don't want to buy a new vacuum every year. You don't want to have to buy a new battery every year. I've both of my batteries on this one have degraded. They still work, just runtime's not incredibly long. I also find the power on it not as good as the corded option Shark, but it's actually it's still really good. It is noticeably stronger in my opinion, and there's no on paper this might not make a ton of sense, but it is noticeably stronger than my Dyson's. And it does a good job. It does a good job anywhere I need it to do. I don't have to go over, especially on carpets, I don't have to go over them like multiple times. I can do it just usually one good pass will be enough with this vacuum. So I do recommend this vacuum. It's older now, but these Shark ones have really, granted I only had a corded one and a cordless one. Both have impressed me with their suction powers. And you hear everything, you hear the rage about Dyson's, and the older Dysons, in my experience, are good, but they're not as good as these Shark ones. And these Shark ones are both, they're newer than the other Dyson. So I definitely recommend this one. I would get the newer version, obviously. I wouldn't go shopping around for a used Shark IF2F51, but if you stumble across one and the battery works, it's a good vacuum, and it's worked for us for years. Finally, the number one vacuum I use the most is my Ryobi PBL SV717 brushless vacuum. This shocked me. I genuinely would never have thought to put this one on the list for most used out of Dysons and Sharks for me. The short answer is it feels more powerful than all of the other cordless options when I use a high-powered battery, either a 4 amp-hour battery or more. This thing will pull me as I turn it on and let it run. It is that strong. Now, with a 2 amp-hour battery from Ryobi, you get noticeably less suction and strength and duration of vacuuming. But with the 4 amp-hour battery or bigger, it feels so strong, and it really does pull you when you're vacuuming. That's the number one reason I like it. Also, I'm in the Ryobi ecosystem. I have a ton of Ryobi tools. I have at least 6 4 amp-hour batteries lying around available at any time that are fully charged and ready to go. I have a number of chargers. I just keep them topped off and I use other Ryobi tools regularly, so that makes this tool even more approachable and usable because I have the batteries out always, and it's always ready to go, and I know it's going to be powerful. It's going to be more powerful than the Dysons and the Shark cordless options. On paper that might not make a lot of sense because it's still an 18-volt tool, but the 4 amp-hour part of this or greater amp-hour part of these tools really helps with performance, and it's really noticeably good. This is brushless. It's that also helps. There's mechanically less resistance when it comes to starting and stopping this and using this. The bin size on this is it's a nice size. It's big. It's bigger than any of the other cordless options here. Now, unfortunately, same issue with this bin where you have to use a tool to get the wedged in hair out of the vacuum, but it's not always. That's the trade-off for having a bigger bin with a stronger battery is worth it to me if I have to even grab an extra tool to empty it out with at the end. It wouldn't be worth it to me if it wasn't noticeably more powerful than the other cordless options, especially like the Dyson V8 that has that auto emptying feature in it. But that trade-off for this is worth it to me because of runtime, accessibility of batteries, and the size of the bin. Other pros, this also has a built-in nozzle at the end, and this one is angled, making it way better than the Shark one. This angle here helps you to actually get what you want. Same goes for this down here. So this wand has an angled suction attachment as well at the bottom, which is amazing. I wish every vacuum would do that. This is a huge convenience. It's annoying to have to go find an attachment if you stumble across something that's big and needs to be, picked up with a wand. I really, really enjoy having this. Now, the weird thing about this is that this has one brush head. It doesn't have two. It's a brush. It's really good with being able to, it's really good with cleaning. It's incredibly easy to clean, and there's some debris caught in there. I needed to empty this out. But when I want to get this brush out, you turn this nozzle and it just comes out. And see, notice there's hair wrapped around it. All of them do this. All of them get hair wrapped around it. The Sharks especially too. I mean, they claim they don't with their like two brush system. They do. They all get hair wrapped around it, especially if you have long-haired pets and humans in your house. But this comes out really easily, and I only have to clean the one brush, and it's really easy to clean, being this, a brush instead of just a big roller that is just only brush. This is brush and plastic, so you can. I just take I'll take a crafting knife to it, or a box cutter like utility knife, and just slice the hair once every month or two. It's part of maintenance, but this makes it really easy to maintain. It's really easy to get out. So, this is the most used vacuum for me because I'm in the system. I have a lot of the batteries. I like the power behind it, and it's overall just a really it's really durable and strong tool, and I broke off the canister cap here. Now, granted, there's more Dyson parts to 3D print, but I was able to 3D print a part here very easily for it, and it works just like it was new, and it's excellent. So aftermarket support via 3D printing is there. It's more readily available for Dysons, but it's still there, and it worked for me, and that solved my issue of cracked canister lid, and I have really enjoyed I mean, this has been really durable. When I broke this originally, I dropped it off the counter on accident when I was emptying out the bin. Any of those other vacuums would have broken too. There's no doubt, but the replacement part that I was able to 3D print works great. So this is it's a little hidden gem of a nobody's on the big vacuum channels are talking about the Ryobis like maybe like they should, I think, especially if you're in the tool system. The last thing I wanted to say about the Ryobi, which I forgot until after I started using it in my exit clip, is that it has a light on the front. And believe it or not, the light actually really helps with seeing debris. I was a skeptic at first. Dyson has some of its green laser light models out there that I thought were kind of a gimmick, but the light on the front of this genuinely makes it easier to see debris. Let me show you. Okay, so I just showed you from least used to most used the vacuums from left here all the way over. Now I want to make a recommendation for the average person, and I hope me going through this list helps y'all think about what you might need or what is actually helpful. My recommendation is get a cordless option and make sure it's powerful. Now, a new Dyson is going to be probably more powerful than any of these up here, but I found more than enough power with my Ryobi because it uses the variety of batteries I have in my Ryobi tool ecosystem, and those stronger, more powerful, larger amp hour batteries make a difference. I recommend, so if you're in a tool ecosystem that has a vacuum, maybe try it. Maybe give it a try and see how it is. It's it's cheaper than buying any of these other vacuums new because you're not having to buy the battery with it. Granted, you have to have batteries to have it work, but so it may be worth considering if you're in Ryobi. I know a bunch of power tool companies make vacuums, but especially for us, regular consumers that are in Ryobi, it it's very impressive and it's surprisingly so. I would recommend a cordless option for the vast majority of people that live, especially in hardwood floors. However, I would recommend a corded option if you have carpets. You're just not going to beat the power of a corded option, in my experience, after trying a lot of different vacuums on carpet. You're still going to get a lot of power out of. You're still able to clean up hair and debris from carpets with these with these cordless options, but it's noticeably easier and faster. You have to do less takes with a corded option. So if you have a lot of carpet in your house, I'd recommend getting a corded option in addition to a cordless option. Have a strong cordless option and have a strong corded option. It's an investment you make hopefully rarely. I have more than most, especially as a reseller, and I come across them all the time. I've resold other types of vacuums out there. I've resold a handful of robot vacuums, of shop vacs, of handheld vacs, and of upright vacs, stick or corded. So hopefully this video gives you something to think about, and from the perspective of a regular guy that has tried a handful of them, my recommendation surprised even me. Have a great day and see you next time.